Hasselblad finally delivers on its medium format promise, the X2D 10C2. For decades, Hasselblad has been synonymous with medium format prestige. From NASA's Apollo missions to countless fashion spreads, the Swedish manufacturer has always represented the pinnacle of image quality. But in recent years, as full-frame mirrorless systems surged in popularity, Hasselblad's relevance seemed uncertain. Their X system launched in 2016 with the X2D brought the medium format dream into a smaller, more portable package. The idea was to combine Hasselblad's legendary color science and optics with a camera you could realistically carry on the street. The ambition was bold, but execution lagged. The X2D and its successor, the X2D 10C, produced jaw-dropping images but were held back by sluggish autofocus, limited customization, and a shooting experience that often felt behind the times. Many photographers loved the design but saw the system as too niche, perfect for slow, deliberate landscape work but frustrating for real-world versatility. Now Hasselblad is back with the X2D 10C2, a camera that looks deceptively similar to its predecessor yet introduces a series of thoughtful refinements. The changes aren't revolutionary, but together they transform the experience in ways that finally align with Hasselblad's promise of a medium format camera you can confidently use every day, whether for portraits, travel, or even a bit of street photography. Let's dive into the details. Design and ergonomics. At first glance, the X2D2 appears almost identical to the X2D. The body retains the minimalist Scandinavian aesthetic that has become Hasselblad's trademark, clean lines, and cluttered controls, and a sculpted grip that feels more like a precision-made instrument than a consumer product. The new graphite gray finish sets it apart from the original black model. Understated yet elegant, the gray surface highlights accents such as the gold shutter button, giving the camera a quiet but undeniable presence. Texture has also been improved. The grip now features a more tactile surface. Reviewers describe it as reminiscent of elephant skin, though thankfully not sourced from real elephants. This gives the camera a surer hold, especially during long shoots. The body is only marginally lighter than its predecessor, but in hand it feels more balanced and refined. Hasselblad's design philosophy has always leaned toward restraint, and that remains true here. Where Sony or Canon might overload a camera with buttons and dials, Hasselblad aims for simplicity. Yet one criticism of past models was that simplicity sometimes tipped into limitation. The X2D2 directly addresses this with smarter customization options. The front control dial now features a push-in function that can be programmed for different tasks. Most notably, the addition of a 5-axis joystick fundamentally changes how the camera operates. The joystick isn't just a directional nub. It includes haptic feedback and an integrated press button. You can navigate menus without removing your eye from the VF. And most importantly, you can now reposition the autofocus point with speed and precision. On the original X2D, this required tapping the touchscreen, an elegant but impractical method for fast shooting. The joystick transforms usability, making the X2D to feel more like a modern professional mirrorless body. Displays and user interface. Hasselblad has upgraded both major displays. The electronic viewfinder EVF boasts 5.76 million dots with full P3 color space coverage. Instead of a traditional physical diopter, adjustments are handled digitally through the menu, an unusual choice, but it prevents accidental shifts during use. The viewing experience is immersive, vibrant, and perfectly suited to evaluating color-critical compositions. While it doesn't fully articulate, it does tilt vertically, making waist-level or overhead shooting more practical. It's not as versatile as the fully articulating screens on many full-frame cameras, but Hasselblad prioritizes rigidity and minimalism over complexity. The touchscreen interface remains one of the cleanest in the industry. Unlike the cluttered menus of Sony or Canon systems, Hasselblad's UI is pared down and intuitive. Combined with the joystick, it's easier than ever to navigate. Storage and build quality. Internally, Hasselblad continues with one of the X2D's most popular features, a 1TB built-in SSD. This is a rarity in digital cameras, and it means you can shoot confidently even if you forget your CUF Express Type B card at home. The SSD is lightning fast, reliable, and perfect for overflow. The card slot doors and port covers have been subtly improved as well. They now use magnetic closures, giving a more satisfying click and reducing the chance of accidental openings. Weather sealing remains moderate sufficient for most field work but not as rugged as some pro-grade DSLRs. Battery life is slightly reduced compared to the original X2D 327 shots versus 420. This appears to be the trade-off for the new processing demands, particularly autofocus. Extra batteries will be essential for extended shoots. Leaf shutter advantages like its predecessor, the X2D uses leaf shutters integrated into its XCD lenses. This allows for flash synchronization at shutter speeds up to 1/4000, an enormous advantage for portrait and studio photographers. It enables creative control of ambient light in ways that focal plane shutters simply can't match. During testing, the camera paired beautifully with compact strobes such as the Westcott FJ20, producing crisp, detailed portraits with the classic Hasselblad tonality. Image quality and sensor tweaks at the heart of the X2D remains the 100-megapixel medium format sensor already renowned for its sharpness, tonal richness, and 15 stops of dynamic range. Hasselblad has made subtle but meaningful refinements. The base ISO drops from 64 to 50, squeezing out about 1/3 of a stop more dynamic range. Color science is further tuned through HNCS HDR Hasselblad Natural Color Solution HDR, which expands the gamut to P3. This benefits not only JPGs and HEIFs but also RAW files when processed through Hasselblad's Focus software. The results are stunning. Colors feel natural yet luminous, with deep but controlled shadows and vibrant highlights. Even subtle tonal transitions like skin gradations or delicate flower petals retain a smooth, film-like quality. However, the real innovation lies in stabilization. Image stabilization. 10 stops claimed one of the biggest challenges with ultra-high-resolution sensors is motion blur. At 100 megapixels, even slight hand movement can rob files of detail. The original X2D introduced in-body stabilization, but the X2D takes it further. Hasselblad claims up to 10 stops of correction in the image center and 8 stops toward edges. While real-world results fall short of that ambitious figure, the improvement is clear. Photographers report shooting handheld at 1/10 of a second with sharp results, something previously unthinkable with medium format. Long exposures of several seconds are theoretically possible, though maximum resolution still benefits from tripod use. Autofocus overhaul. Autofocus was the Achilles heel of the original X2D. Even after firmware updates added eye detection, performance remains slow and inconsistent. The X2D addresses this with a combination of phase detection pixels and LiDAR assistance, along with subject recognition modes. Now the camera offers face and eye detection that locks with greater reliability. Animal detection for cats and dogs. Vehicle tracking. While still not on par with Sony or Canon's best systems, autofocus is significantly improved. The system is slower than mainstream mirrorless cameras and occasionally hunts, but accuracy is much higher. For portraiture and general use, it's finally dependable. Burst shooting and limitations on trade-off is continuous shooting speed. The frame rate has actually dropped slightly from 3.3 FPS on the X2D to 3 FPS on the X2D2. Clearly, Hasselblad prioritized processing for subject detection over burst performance. For fast action or sports, this is not the camera for you. But for travel, portraits, and landscapes, the frame rate is sufficient. HDR. Imagining a notable new feature is HDR photography. Hasselblad extends HDR beyond simple exposure blending, integrating it into the color pipeline with support for wide-gamut P3 displays. HDR JPGs can be viewed directly on modern iPhones, iPads, and compatible monitors, delivering vivid highlight and shadow detail straight out of camera. HEIF files gain partial HDR support, mainly visible on the camera's display or in Hasselblad's Focus app. RAW files offer the greatest potential, with up to 4 additional stops of dynamic range, but require processing through Hasselblad's software. The caveats: HDR mode is disabled in certain situations, such as continuous bursts, bracketing, or when using some third-party flashes. But within its constraints, HDR output is gorgeous, offering a more lifelike representation of how the human eye perceives light. Real-world use. So how does all this translate to actual photography? Where the X2D often felt like a studio or landscape-only tool, the X2D feels adaptable. The joystick alone makes it far easier to use for candid shooting. Improved stabilization and autofocus make it viable for handheld portraits, pets, and family moments. HDR output ensures images look stunning on modern displays without heavy editing. Importantly, the overall user experience has become pleasurable rather than frustrating. The X2D may not match Sony or Canon for speed, but it doesn't need to. It delivers medium format quality in a package that's finally practical for more than just slow tripod work. Verdict: Hasselblad's most versatile medium format. Yet the X2D 10C2 doesn't revolutionize Hasselblad's lineup, but it refines it in crucial ways. By addressing autofocus, ergonomics, and stabilization, Hasselblad has transformed what was once a beautiful but limited camera into a genuinely versatile creative tool. Strengths: exceptional 10MP image quality with improved dynamic range, gorgeous Scandinavian design and new graphite finish, built-in 1TB SSD plus CAF Express support. Effective stabilization, handheld shots, now realistic, improved autofocus with subject detection, joystick and expanded controls for modern usability, HDR color pipeline. For next-gen displays, weakness: slower autofocus and burst rates compared to full-frame rivals, battery life reduced, HDR support limited to certain modes, and Hasselblad software. High system cost, both body and X2D lenses for those who can afford it. The Hasselblad X2D finally fulfills the vision of a medium format camera you can confidently carry anywhere. It's not a sports machine, but it's now a credible travel, portrait, and generalist camera, one that produces files of breathtaking quality and makes the shooting process enjoyable.